Hey guys, Mono here. A few days ago I went back to Battlefield 5 and I know what you're thinking. This is gonna be one of those videos saying that Battlefield 5 is actually good and that it was never bad and blah blah blah, only because Battlefield 2042 is worse now, so I forgot how bad Battlefield was and so on. Well, you're actually not wrong. That's exactly what this video is. But wait, because I'm one of those guys that actually liked Battlefield 5 when it came out. The only reason I stopped playing it was because I was just too angry at them butchering the time to kill twice after promising they weren't gonna do it. If you didn't know this, soon after it launched, come Christmas season, they basically increased the amount of bullets that you needed to kill someone because they thought this would be better for new players coming in. This was after pretty much the entire Battlefield community making it very clear that the gunplay was perfect. It was perfect the way it was the best thing about the game, and they decided to mess with it, of course. Well, to make the story short, they changed it, everyone was angry, they reversed it, saying they heard the complaints and promised not to do it again, and then obviously a year later, come Christmas season again, they nerfed everything and then never fully reversed that last change.
Don't be sad, this is just how it works out sometimes.
Shut up, Angel. Anyway, that's when both me and lots of other people stopped playing because I was mad at being taken for a fool twice and of being lied to. So I didn't actually stop playing because I thought the game wasn't fun or because of the lack of future updates for it. I actually think Battlefield 5 is a very decent, actually good Battlefield game. Obviously, having a new worst game in the franchise to compare it to changes the optics a bit, but the gunplay is still the best out of every single Battlefield game in terms of weapon handling, weapon variety, recoil control, and all of that. Yes, it always does feel like it takes one too many bullets to kill someone, but if you find a weapon that you're actually good with, it goes from being a huge problem to just being a minor annoyance. And the vehicles are a ton of fun to use. They don't regenerate health forever if you stop being hit and run away like they do in Battlefield 2042. They actually need to get repaired by either an engineer or at a repair station, which is actually interesting and challenging. Heavy tanks and light tanks are a thing. There are a ton of different tanks and airplanes in the game that actually feel and play different. Not like Battlefield 2042 again, where the tank is just a tank and there's mostly just one type of vehicle per class, and even when there's multiple different ones, they all pretty much play the same, right? In Battlefield 5, they have their own unique strengths and weaknesses. That's actually really good. And then there's the way the game looks. That's actually one of the things that surprised me the most going back. You play Battlefield 2042 and it has this very sterile, very crisp, austere nature to it. It's almost like a clinical, like a hospital vibe. Buildings are this flat color, lacking any detail. Nothing about them relates contextually to where they are in, to the fact that there is supposed to be a war going on. Yes, they changed some of the maps and they reworked them, but they still kind of feel the same. There's hardly any damage or anything broken, not to mention the map design being basically the worst out of any multiplayer shooter released in the past decade. Battlefield 5, on the other hand, is a visual orgy. Like Battlefield 1, the atmosphere, the sounds, the way your guy gets blown away when there's an explosion nearby, the subtle animations like soldiers lifting their knees when they're treading through deep water, and the dialogues from soldiers nearby which actually relate to what's going on and aren't just cringy one-liners. There's clearly a lot of passion that was put into this game. Yes, it isn't perfect. Very few of the original maps feel like Battlefield maps. Instead, they feel like an infantry-focused game with the occasional vehicle thrown in. Add to this the lack of well-known historic battles like Market Garden, Omaha Beach, Berlin, or Stalingrad, which was one of the dumbest decisions they took with this game. Actually, the award to the dumbest decision goes to the absolutely asinine, astronomical stupidity of having both teams be able to use the same weapons instead of actually trying to create a World War II game where each army uses the weapons they actually used, where each soldier is easily recognizable as belonging to a specific army. Now it's even worse than it was at launch because the inclusion of the Japanese army means that you can be fighting in a European map against a mix of German and Japanese soldiers using British and American weapons, which makes about as much sense as the original idea they had for Battlefield 2042 being a hero shooter, so absolutely none. That thing about the weapons being shared is actually a trend that started with Battlefield 1, by the way, and spoilers, Battlefield 1 was my least favorite Battlefield game before Battlefield 2042 came out. I placed it right between Battlefield 5 and 2042. I am sure the comment section for this video will be very interesting to read. But anyway, despite its flaws, if you have a couple of friends to play this with, and you stick to trying to play the good maps and not the bad ones, which is something that you can actually do using the server browser unlike other games,
Angel does it again!
It's actually quite good. Not one of the best Battlefields overall, but it does offer the combination of gorgeous graphics, impressive level destruction, fun gunplay, and fun vehicles that you just don't really get anywhere else. When you do go back to these games though, one of the problems you run into is full squads of people that are max level that haven't stopped playing the game since launch and will absolutely destroy you. Having a group of friends to hop around servers if this happens actually helps quite a bit. You know, trying to find a more balanced match. So I highly recommend, if you feel like going back to Battlefield 5 for a few hours. It is on Game Pass, by the way, so you know it's free if you have Game Pass, which is really good. It's obviously a better experience if you can play with a squad of friends. In that vein, I encourage anyone that wants to leave their Discord name or Steam username or whatever username down in the comments to do so, because that might help some players find cool people to play with, because if you're watching this video, you know, chances are you're pretty cool. What I also recommend is doing a quick Google search for what people think are the best weapons in the game. If you didn't have a preferred weapon because you never played much, or like me, you had one, but that got nerfed into the ground with the last TTK patch they did, it helps a bunch to know which weapons to try out first. So that's it, guys. Battlefield 5, actually good. One last thing is, if you're coming from the Hell Let Loose crowd or other similar games to it, then get ready for a cocaine-like increase in speed. Both Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5 are a bit too fast, a bit too hectic in my opinion, and that takes a while to get used to, especially if you're coming from a slower paced game. Alright, let me know down in the comment section if you've been playing Battlefield 5 recently or thinking about jumping back in, and if you did play it, then let me know what you thought. As always, thank you for watching, and I hope I will catch you in the next one.